testing. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Hi, happy Thursday. See, I swear sometimes the days just kind of blend a little bit, don't you think? We're gonna kick things off. I'm still gonna maintain my original schedule. We're gonna do our little yap sesh, but I'm also gonna be working on some stuff here in a little bit. I'm gonna make a video on this. Thank you so much for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. Hello. Had a nice drink. First things first. Squeak. Squeak. Hello. Okay, so I mentioned it on Twitter. I'm gonna probably make a more thought out video on this. But I think everyone kind of noticed what went on yesterday in the Vtuber space, which is very interesting because I've always had my 2 cents, mostly from like an artist's perspective. If you guys didn't know, I'm an artist. No, it's nothing that's like. Hang on, let me turn on the music before I start yelling over it. It's not something that hasn't come up before. I think the only reason why this one kind of blew up is because originally a female VTuber made a post. Let me go see if I can find that original video, because that's where I heard it from here too. Like a person named Cha-Cha, I think. Yeah. Is it Cha-Cha? Yeah, I think it was. I'm trying to see it. Let me find the video. Oh, here we go. So this, okay, I can't tell. The thumbnails all look. Oh, here we go. Okay, we'll watch it together and then let me know what you guys think. Oh, is it really? Or just like a what do you call it? Like a VTuber thing. Oops, hang on. So it originated, like I said, I'll have a more like, what you would call it? I'll have a more put together, like cohesive video thing, because it is something I kind of want to actually talk about. Mostly, again, all of my opinions are coming from like an artistic position. Hang on. Here, let me grab this window first. Here you go. Okay, so this was her video. I'm gonna try to minimize it because we're gonna be looking through Twitter stuff anyway. Because I did want to just host a little bit of a yap session before we continue with art. Oh, I didn't mean to put that down. Hello. Good morning, Mr. Wacky. All right. And like, I know people have like their own little opinions on it. I do too. But I feel like this conversation, I know it comes up every now and then, is definitely like a long time coming. And we'll get to that. We'll get to why in a second. But here, let me see if I could play it. Is there audio? Here, 1 second. This is, see, all of this like movement is what you're gonna see like without
For a guy, it's gonna be.
Oh, here you go. So this was the original.
If you are a guy, it's gonna be 3 times as hard to be a VTuber. Count it as a hobby, and I would suggest making content on a YouTube burst. Find some kind of niche content that you want to make and stream it. It does not have to be with a model. Find some kind of like topic and talk about it. You do not even have to use your face. But if you're just planning on like getting a VTuber model and just jumping on Twitch and playing video games, it is going to be so hard for you because there is very little discoverability on Twitch. I wouldn't recommend just hopping on Twitch and just grinding. It's not the way. It's just not.
Yeah, so of course, you know, everyone has their own takes on the situation, right? And of course, it ruffled a lot of feathers, but there is like some kind of truth to it, you know? Yeah, thank you for the lyric. I really appreciate it. But there is some truth to it when you think about it. Like, predominantly, it is kind of like if it stems from, let's say, Japanese idol culture, right? A majority of those fans are stereotypically guys, so it kind of applies with like VTubers as well. Majority of their community, you know, why a lot of like female VTubers succeed. If you look at like corporos like Hololive, right? Hololive succeeds with their Japanese and English side. Female idol culture is definitely prominent there. But on the same hand, if you look at Niji Sanji, a lot of their male talent definitely far succeeds over female talent. So there's kind of like a little bit of a disparity there, right? But when you look at deep down, when you look at the content that they make, you can kind of see like why, right? If you just jump into the fray, yeah, and it applies to everybody. But I think a lot of people are also kind of realizing it's a little bit easier from the VTuber standpoint if you are a female, right? Because then you have like that original core of idol culture, right? So you see like a cute model or a very sexy model and you're like, oh yeah, I want to see. But appearances alone is never going to be enough to get people to stay, right? Like I've come across multiple accounts that just has like a pretty model, but like their viewer count doesn't reflect their original like debut teaser or their character art, because that's all that they initially had going for them. They don't really talk in their streams, they don't really engage when they play, you know. There's no like content creator appeal, right? Saw someone on Twitter says it's easier for girls. Yes and no. Like yes and no, there is some truth to that. Like I said, with like female idol culture, right? You get like the fanboys. It's commonplace there. However, a lot of people are led to believe, and this is kind of like I've mentioned it before in American like advertisements and all that stuff. The segment sex sells is very prominent, right? It's in advertisement, it's in shows, it's in commercials. Like I learned this in university. Like we were taught, especially as artists, like how do we get eye-catching, you know, this, that, and the next thing. How do we get an audience? Unfortunately, it is, you know, like sex sells, and a lot of female creators lean into that. A lot of male creators also lean into that, but popularity wise, it's definitely still leaning more towards female creators. But it's kind of like considered like a taboo conversation, but I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about too. For me, it like boils down, you can't just, you know, it boils down to you can't just have like a pretty model and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna rock, I'm gonna blow up, I'm gonna, you know, be super popular, super successful, blah blah blah. And then it's not really the case, because that's not how it works. You have to be interesting enough. But a lot of people, especially the male VTubers that read comments like those, weren't too happy with that kind of response, even though it's true. You know, it's like you can't just bank on your character looking good and then you're gonna become successful, right? They think if they go if they follow the mold of like, how do I say it, kind of like the opposite of the female VTuber, when they do like the whole daddy trope, boyfriend experience trope, sexy whatever buff dude, it's like they think it's gonna be instant success, but 9 times out of 10 it's just like it's overdone. Everybody that you see is like some edgelord looking guy, some buff looking dude, some tech wear looking guy, and they become like a copy paste of each other. And it also applies to female VTubers, but again, sex appeal kind of sells a little bit more to one side than the other. Yeah. So, you know, I'm gonna probably ask some of my friends if I can use them as an example for a video that I want to put together. But if I took a look, like, I'm not gonna call them out here, but you know, if I use them as an example, what appeals for me and why I followed them is because their designs are so unique. You know, like, yeah, someone can have a cool looking edgelord looking VTuber model, and sometimes I just kind of like scroll past. But if you see any like, you know, good looking model, yeah, sure, that helps, you know, bring visual attention, right? And then you see the content, you kind of want to stay for the content. Like, there's this one guy, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have seen because they kind of went a little viral. They're an actual doctor, right? They work in the medical field. You know, they have a unique looking model, nothing too over the top, but their content is unique and it stands out. So of course people are going to want to click through and check, right? Or one of my friends, you know, I clicked to his design because it's unique. He's like, I know he's like a PNG tuber right now, but like he has like a TV head, right? And I was like, okay, cool. He looks really cool. I'll check out his content. End up loving his personality too. So, you know, that has me wanting to stay, right? Let's see. There's nothing wrong with being a small chibi. So some people think like you have to be like some sex god in order to succeed, and I just think it's kind of I personally, from a designer's aspect, it's a very tiring trope. I don't care. I personally do not care. I more really care about like the kind of content and personality you put into it, because a lot of the times, a lot of guys and girls are guilty of this as well, get so into like the role that they play that all of their content starts to get a little weird, you know? Like, there's been a couple of issues like I've seen in the English VTuber community. Like, all of this is mostly coming from the EN side, right? Where they're like, oh, I'm going to just be like this sex god and just go into everyone's DM that's a female and like role play with them without consent, and like it'll be good and shit. And it's just like, it becomes creepy. They become too into their character to the point where it's creepy. Twitch and content creations are weird anyway. The success of many seems to come from either A, getting into an org, B, going viral through coincidences. You can't really force it. Yeah, of course, you know, a lot of it is luck based, but you also have to put work into it in order to be seen, right? Like, take a look at me, for example. You know, a good chunk of my viewers started coming from like TikTok and stuff because I started posting on there and people are able to find me. But I'm not going to stick to just streaming on Twitch. There's more to it. You actually have to, you know, edit your own shit. You're pretty much treating yourself as a brand. You got to promote your brand, you know? What kind of content do you do? How do you stand out from everyone else in the crowd? Where is your content? Where can they find you when you're not online? You know? Stuff like that. I can't just be a cuddly chibi on stream, especially when the tone of the game and my mood don't match. You know, sometimes having, like, there was a video that I watched. I think a lot of other people starting out can watch it. It's by Squeegee. Squeegee has a lot of videos on like how to design a VTuber, and sometimes opposites definitely work. Like, you could have a super cute chibi model, right? And then you have like this deep as hell voice, or the content you play does not match how cute you look. That is a niche. You can really build up on that, and that is what makes you different. That is what will get eyes on you, because then you'll see people who are like, oh, look at this cute model. Oh shit, they're this is the type of games they play. This is the type of content they stream. I'm gonna wanna take a look and see what they got, right? Yeah, so that's a good example. That's like a very, in my opinion, a good niche to build up on. That'll make you stand out from the crowd. You can work with that. And a lot of people think you have to have like this sexy model just to stand out. I think that works. I personally think that works against you. So let me bring back up let me bring this back up. Right. Oh, aside from my feed, I did share like my own takes on it, and I'm glad people got a positive response from it. It actually made me happy. And you know, I'll jump off of it in a video, but some people said they were happy that I made a statement like this, because I don't know. again, a lot of my perspectives comes from being an artist, right? But I've also seen every side of like the VTuber in the English side, right? You know, and some of these takes are like how I think you could succeed. Like, don't be an asshole. That applies for everybody. Don't be an asshole. This one is a given, but a lot of people don't really look into it. Like, you have to find a niche and focus on it, whether it's incorporated into your lore, whether it's, you know, based on your design, whether it's the content that you make, right? So like Chibleb or Chibleb, for example, right? Like that could be like your niche. Not saying that has to be your niche, but that's a good starting point, right? You're a cute little chibi character. Like, let's say you're a cute chibi character playing scary ass games. That would be like, oh wow, that's kind of funny, right? Or cute, or like different. When you're different, you're definitely more memorable, right? It's not gonna be like an instant like rise to fame because you're different, but I personally think it does help kind of kickstart it in that direction, you know? True. I actually found you and many others through your design and stick around when I see you're interesting. A lot of people look cool, but they're not really engaging or don't create something. Exactly. I have that issue as well too. Like, I continuously research how to make myself more interesting. I've followed a bunch of people that were just, you know, don't get me wrong, the designs are beautiful, but if you don't add on to it, that's all that there is to it. And then now you're just like a pretty model that I'll have in the back of my mind, but I won't really like find myself interacting with on a bigger basis because there's no substance. It's like a sandwich. It looks pretty on the outside, but there's little to no flavor or substance when you take a bite out of it. Do not bite VTubers. But you know. And here's another thing that a lot of people also don't take into granted. When I was designing my model, when I was designing my my concepts and everything, I followed Squeegee's video. I took notes. I'll probably share it when I do a video. I took notes. I have a spreadsheet. I have like a Google Docs on research, tropes, what makes someone succeed, what doesn't, what makes them stand out. I took research very, very seriously before I did what I did. Yeah. You know, it takes a lot to know what your audience is. What do you want to bring to the table that'll make you stand out? Or kind of like, you know, what do you have to offer that can help make you stand out? Yeah, it's hard to grow as a content creator in general. Whether you're flush or you're digital, it is hard. It is oversaturated, and you have to fight against everybody, not just VTubers. It's not male VTubers versus female VTubers. It's you against content creators if you want to stand out and grow. But that also can be a little bit like hurtful, right? Because then if you don't see growth, then you're gonna hurt yourself. And that's why I had to learn this the hard way too. Have fun with it. Like, with whatever you're doing, have fun with it. And like the success will just, you know, kind of make its way to you. It's like a balance of having fun with it and then hard work. The hard work being like, you have to promote yourself, you have to create videos, you have to network, right? But you still also have to find some joy in it. Like, you have to find passion in it, or else you're always gonna get burnt out. You're always gonna get frustrated. You're always gonna, you know, and I'm guilty of that too, right? Ooh, I'm guilty of that too. So you do have to find like a good healthy balance, right? And then another one, you know, if you're a male VTuber and you don't know how you're not growing, look at the ones who succeeded, right? Look at the ones who are succeeding, and don't just stick to male VTubers. Like you're limiting yourself if you're just looking at male VTubers, right? Look at Let's Players, look at like people like Markiplier or Queso, right? See what works for them. A lot of the times they're just being themselves, right? The only difference is you're not showing off like your fleshy model, right? You're actually like a digital, so you kind of have to incorporate that into that, like research. You got to do a lot of research to find what works for you, and that's one thing that people fail to look at. I guess one problem is that many people jump in wanting viewership and success too quickly. Absolutely. A lot of them end up burning out or running into other issues. It's better to start as a hobby and build up. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I've mentioned it to someone earlier this morning when they were complaining because, you know, they're like, oh, I don't know where to start. I don't have the money or whatever. It's like, I started as a free to use model. Like, if I could show you guys, I'll probably, you know, again, when I do like a video on this, I'll show you like each snippet. I think I've gone through 3 free to use models. 3 free to use models and 1 Vroid model before I got this model, which is myself. You know, I got a mama and a papa, and my character is brought to life the way I wanted it to be. But you also gotta start somewhere. Yeah, see? And then that works out for you. You know, you don't need a super fancy, expensive model to start, because then at that point, people are looking at your content and your personality. The model is just like the flashy little, you know, how can I like describe it? It's like a fancy, flashy little thing that you use to like get people's attention, right? It's kind of like, it's like jingling something in front of someone. You're like, oh, here, I got your attention. Here's what I have to offer. You're a walking advertisement as a VTuber. And a lot of people also succeed with free to use stuff or like customizable, you know, paid models, right? Like the affordable ones, the custom. I know they had a word for it, but I'm blanking on it right now. But the customizable ones, a lot of people also succeed with that. A lot of people also succeed as a PNG tuber or a GIF tuber. Like, there's a lot of starting points to start, but people just assume that all it takes is a model and then boom, massive success, right? And that's not the case. And then here's another point that I made. You know, you got to stand out from the crowd, right? Just to reiterate, you know, design and your personality, that is what's going to keep people long term, in my opinion. You know, like, yes, the design helps, right? It'll help you stand out if you're not like the same copy pasta. And a lot of male VTubers, voice crack. A lot of male VTubers, and you know, unfortunately, it happens in the female VTuber side too, but no one really wants to talk about that. You know, fall into doing like the buff dude, the edgelord, the daddy vibes, and think that that's what people want to see, which is, I personally think, is pretty tired. You know, the female side is also just as guilty of doing it, but they're not gonna discuss that. But it does apply as well. And then here's one thing that I personally wanted to add is like research popular male anime tropes and then what makes them popular, right? One of the main things about VTubing is, you know, us being virtual brings that anime appeal. So a lot of the times you see people being like, hey, I'm a this and this anime trope VTuber, and that's a good marketing strategy that'll get people interested in you, right? So it's like, you know, there was someone I was following, I can't really remember from the top of my head, but they had like an anime-esque theme too, where it's like, oh, I was this, and then I got isekai'd, right? So that's another popular trope. So if you look at like popular male characters and what makes them popular, that's another thing you can incorporate if you wanted to play a if you wanted to play up a character, right? For me, sometimes I try to play up a character, but 9 times out of 10 my own personality just comes out. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good here. It also been helpful to interact with people. Absolutely. You know? And then also, last one is I really want to hammer this point, and a lot of people agreed, which I really appreciated. I tweeted this just to tweet my own thoughts, right? I wasn't expecting like the positive responses on it, where it's like, you know, don't assume that being 100% NSFW is gonna bring you success. Okay, a lot of people seem to think that because, again, in a lot of places, not just in America, sex sells, and that is what they think will get them popularity. Unfortunately, it does happen, you know, especially or more so to female VTubers, because it also happens in advertisement, right? It also happens in like a lot of things where something sexy is what's appealing, and then that's what gets people interested. And it's a tried and true, what do you call it, like marketing strategy, right? So, you know, that's one of those things where it's like it's very interesting. Now, one thing I do want to look at are some people, like I bookmarked other people's opinions because I'm very, very curious. Oh, someone made a point, and I guess they deleted it. I actually really, dang, I wish I screenshotted it, because I really think his point was really good. But I guess people took it too personally because it was a little too firm. But here, let's go through some of them, because I personally agreed with a good amount of them. For example, someone wrote, maybe a hot take, but I feel like the ones that I see complaining about it the most are still trying to win the same audience as female VTubers when there's still a very large untapped female audience. They just don't want to change their strategy to cater to them. It's usually either guys who put in zero effort into their content, don't maintain a schedule, or who are not very entertaining to watch. It's a lot easy to get viewers when you can rely on jiggle physics and gooners than it is to confront the fact that the lack of jiggle physics it's not the lack of jiggle physics, it's you. Yes and no, okay? Yes and no. The whole jiggle physics thing, a lot of people do know it does appeal to the gooner audience a lot of the times. But I also agree to the part where they said, you know, you're not really interesting or entertaining to watch. Then that part is always going to be crucial as a content creator. You can be a great player, right? You could be like a, an FPS player that's just super good, blah, blah, blah. And, people will watch you. Yeah, people will watch you. But when it comes to being a VTuber, you also have to bring in the appeal to your character and your brand. So I think, finding a way to make yourself more entertaining, whether it's bringing out your own personality or playing a personality, will come in clutch. Like, a lot of the times you have people who are in the JP side, they play characters, they play roles, and it really works out for them in terms of like success and stuff, right? You're gonna have to do the same. Ooh, excuse me. Trying to adjust. You're gonna have to do the same thing. And why did I freeze? Oh, iPhone, you really cannot handle VTube Studio, can you? Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna reset my model. It froze. But yeah, so yes, not everyone can be a lewd orca cat, but she's a cute orca cat. Okay, I'll give that to her. It works for her. But there's also people who also do it like a little bit too over the top, which is you know, that's gonna work against them. Because, like, if you take Shy Lily as an example, whenever my model loads up, yes, the initial appeal is because she's a sexy VTuber design, right? But when you actually watch her streams, you also see her personality, which keeps you there. I was like, okay, yeah, you know, nothing like over the top design wise, very sexy. And then you watch her streams, and you're like, oh my god, this person's funny, right? Or I like how this person like acts, or like, you know, that definitely plays a role too. But ultimately, personality and content is what's gonna keep a viewer. It's what's gonna make you memorable. Yeah, design, great, but what you do, you know, what you do with that is also gonna help with your success. And yeah, I do agree. There's also female VTubers who are streaming, you know, that have a pretty model but have like low view counts. That's also because, you know, a pretty model is just not gonna get you where you think it's gonna get you. So that's kind of like a little point that I have on there. And then another person mentioned, let's see, a lot of discourse about male VTubers, and once I feel like I can speak on this, let me see. Just because no one has blazed a trail for you, you're gonna mope around about how hard it is to be a man in this space. Need someone to hold your hand to success. People always gonna say you can't succeed because X, Y, and Z, and all you're doing is clearing that playing field for them, feeding into that. If nobody succeeds when others thought it was impossible, would still be living. Yeah, sometimes you have to build that path for yourself. Chibleb, I'm gonna use you as another example. Yeah, there was yesterday. It was pretty big. Chibleb, I'm gonna use you as another example just because I think your concept is very unique. No, I mean, no. You know, if there's no one who has started like the trope of being someone cute playing horror stuff as like a male VTuber, right? Be that first one. Be that one. Make that your niche. Make that your focus. And in due time, it'll take off. And you'll become that trailblazer, right? You'll have people wanting to be like, oh, there's another option than just being like a sex maniac VTuber, because look at Chiblib. They succeeded because they're a chibi VTuber, but look at the content that they make. It's engaging, it's unique, it's interesting. Like, that is a good point that Maito mentioned. Yes, Crit, that is the topic. Yeah, and also, like, if you guys read Tomoe's comment, right? They decided to, you know, move away from, like, the buff guys, right? Hey, don't sell yourself short. You never know until you try, you know? Success also means differently for everybody, right? Success can also be if you got affiliate. Success can also mean you got partners. Success can also mean people can recognize your videos. It's different for everybody, right? If I could bonk you right now, Crit, I would. Jesus. But yeah, so like if you look at other VTubers like Tomoe, they're successful because their design stands out, right? Instead of going with like the big buff, deep voice type of trope, they went with themselves, and that makes them stand out, you know? But yeah, I definitely saved a lot of good points that I'm also going to incorporate in the video, but I am still going to use it to yap, because a lot of the times people don't understand that keyword soon. What's this? Success is for me reaching affiliate. I'm not there yet. You'll get there. Don't sell yourself short. Himari doesn't give me the light of day. That's how I measure sex. Shut the fuck up, Crit. Oh, I'm gonna strangle you. Okay. You are your own light campfire. Don't you mean lit campfire? Neko. Okay, so here's another point that other people made a point out of. Yeah, it is significantly harder as a male VTuber to succeed, almost on the same hand as it is for like female streamers, some female streamers to succeed compared to like their male counterparts, right? Like it's not a, how do you say it? It's not a singular mold, right? Like there's no singular mold that'll equal success. Everyone has their own idea for it, right? I'll wait till you get 3 high chairs needed to Oh my god. Okay, if you guys are just joining, as I see some people also jumping in, there was a discourse yesterday started by Cha-Cha, which is a prominent female VTuber, about having people complain about how difficult it is to succeed as a male VTuber, right? So this was the original
For
video.
a guy, it's gonna be 3 times as hard to be a VTuber. Count it as a hobby, and I would suggest making content on a YouTube burst. Find some kind of niche content that you want to make and stream it. It does not have to be with a model. Find some kind of like topic and talk about it. You do not even have to use your face. But if you're just planning on like getting a VTuber model and just jumping on Twitch and playing video games, it is going to be so hard for you because
yeah, so TLDR, people were talking more and more about how difficult it is to be a successful male VTuber in the VTuber community, and people have just been putting in their 2 cents, and I'm putting in my 2 cents in the ring because I'm an artist. I'm an artist, and last I checked, I'm female, so I'm putting in my own takes, what makes a male VTuber kind of succeed or be of interest to me. Not even that it's also slightly have to do with luck. Exactly. The market is incredibly like super oversaturated. You really have to stand out. And that goes both ways. But there is a success disparity between male and female VTubers, which a lot of female VTubers have started to acknowledge, which they didn't before. But now, I think that's another reason why this one blew up, is because a lot more are saying, oh yeah, there's a gender disparity, of course. Just don't. COVID really did, for sure. So there's this one, and then this isn't to say it's easy as a female creator. Yeah, you still need to market yourself. You still need to grow. You need to stand out. As a male VTuber, you don't need to fall into the typical niches, such as, yeah, here. This is the one I want to reiterate. You do not have to be someone who does, you know, the boyfriend experience or daddy vibes to be a successful VTuber. And, you know, a lot of people grew because they were out of that mold, because they decided to be away from it. I personally get bored and see them as a dime a dozen, you know? Like, the amount of times, I think it was before I debuted, where I saw people releasing models and they're always like the same edgelord, the same buff dude, the same guy aiming to be like a daddy vibes. Yeah, see, crit, that helps. Be in that maid dress more often. Yeah, that's why you also have to get your work outside of Twitch too. You know, don't just stream on Twitch. Stream on other platforms. Get your content up on other platforms. Edit stuff. There's free editing programs. If you can swing it, hire an editor. I tried being a daddy experience, but no one wants to listen to me when I tell them. Yeah, you could also, yeah, that's one way you could stand out. You see all those like sexy scripts that people post and shit. Read it with the derpy voice. Make fun of it, you know, like make your own content with it, and then that'll help you stand out too. Also, we're coming in an ad break in about 50 seconds. I'll still continue yapping for a little bit, but I do apologize if you guys get hit with the ads. A little tidbit. there's a section in the rules as to why I do run ads. I don't run pre-rolls, but I do need the ads in terms of like taking stretch breaks and standing, so I don't just sit here and yap the whole time. But yeah, so far it seems like just the emphasis is just to find your niche and get your work out there, right? That's what everyone is predominantly just saying. Find your niche, get your work out there. But instead of focusing on that, a lot of people seem to just focus on the fact that, oh, it's impossible. And I'm like, is it? It's not impossible if you don't try, right? Like, it's definitely not impossible if you don't try. Oh, thank you, Lego More, for subbing. Greatly appreciate it. Oh, did a baby girl, baby girl. Look, for example, young Himari. Did you take your vitamins and eat? Yes, I did. I had breakfast and I took my meds. Wow. Wow. And here's another point that I made too. Why daddy vibe VTuber stuff is also in competition to like video games, what do you call that? Harem games like what's that one called? The Deep Space one? They're competing against Otome games. Like, you will lose if you try to go through like the boyfriend vibe, daddy vibes or whatever when games like that exist. Yeah, Love in Deep Space, games like that, you will lose because that's also your competition. You will. Oh, don't worry. I would have. If I played the game, I would have gone for that dude too. Trust. Leave my space mermaid man alone. My bad. I didn't think I touched a nerve there. So here's another take that I did also agree on. Within the niche of the VTubing, male VTubers are objectively less watched. Yes. Within streaming and YouTube as a whole, men are 90% the top of the creators. Yes. If I was a guy and wanted to stream, I would maybe consider not fully limiting myself to the niche and focusing on content. Yes, there are many huge male faceless VTubers that are technically VTubers if you think about it. Starting out with the loser mentality will always lead to worse results. The stats are fully on your side when it comes to streamers as a whole, so don't let numbers within a niche affect your morale. Yes, there's always a lot of successful faceless VTubers too, or content creators too, right? Like, you gotta read a lot of these tips too. Like I said, I'm making my own little video take on it. Aside from yapping here, I'll probably add my own clips from this stream here to that as well. Here's another one. While male VTubers do see overall less success in the field, it's still very possible and doable to be a successful male VTuber. Using the mindset, male VTubers aren't popular and that's why I'm not popular, is lazy and doesn't get you anywhere. Yes, I agree. You gotta have to fight for it, right? Yeah, and it's not because you're not a girl. It's also, you gotta think about it. How often do you upload offline content? How many platforms are you posting to? How many times are you interacting with other people? One of the biggest tip that I found out while I was researching, if you want the algorithm to read you on Twitter, you have to at least make 30 tweets to somebody. Like, you have to have at least reply to 30 people a day in order to get picked up by the algorithm. There's also networking. Who do you know? How often do you collab? Where do you get your work to be seen? For me, originally I was just on Twitter and YouTube. Then I started adding to TikTok. Sometimes I'll throw here and there on Instagram, even though I don't really care for that. You gotta post somewhere. Yeah. Apparently, that's one of the ways to be seen by the algorithm consistently. And one way to grow is if you interact. Like I found a couple of I tried that one for a little bit and it did show some positive results, but it's so exhausting. Trying to grow on Twitter is a little bit iffy, but that's one of the few tips that I did see. You know, you reply to people at least 30 times a day to even be seen by the algorithm. And that is if you have, unfortunately, the blue check mark goes a long way. You are lost to the void if you don't have the blue check mark, realistically speaking. Yes. Yes, Darink. It's come up in the past multiple times before. It's come up in the past for years too. There is a lot of bitterness, especially from the male side, because they're not seeing as much popularity as female streamers do. So there's still that much distaste and anger, but a lot of people are doing it, from what I've seen, trying to replicate what the female VTubers are doing, which isn't really going to work out all the time, right? I know. Trust me, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. But, it's one of those things, if you gotta, unfortunately, in some cases, if you want to grow on certain platforms, if you want to develop a reach, you do unfortunately have to fork out some cash. Oh, I didn't have my mix it up. Oopsies. Sorry. I will owe you a head pat. Whoops. I know I was forgetting something. But thank you for the head pat, Redeem. Yeah, so unfortunately, if you don't want to see your stuff, if you want your stuff to get reach, one of the best ways is, unfortunately, using the check mark, which is really dumb, but unfortunately, you kind of have to invest if you want to help grow your brand. I saw this one. This one is the one I also wanted to discuss because this one has some relatively good advice. Here's some advantages for male VTubers. 1, less competition between other male VTubers. Yes, the VTuber scene, especially in the indie and smaller corpo world, is oversaturated with female models. Male VTubers stand out because they're rarer. Yes, but to counteract that, you also have to not be within the same branch of the whole boyfriend experience or daddy vibes or whatever. I mean, you can if you want. You can if that's what you care to do. You can if that's what you're into. But just know, your growth is gonna vary, right? Your growth is always gonna vary. A lot of people also assume that if you do NSFW content, if you are a lewd tuber, you'll explode in popularity. For that community, sure, you can, but only for that part of the community. If you want to get an overall audience outside of the NSFW sphere, you're better off not doing that. But if you want your community to be as equally lewd and horny and whatever as possible, yes, GFE, BFE, whichever, then that's the only audience you're going to cater, which is not the entire demographic of VTuber fans. So you'll be limiting yourself there. But if that's what you want to do, go for it. I'm not judging you, but I've seen different sides. I've experienced different sides. Not my cup of tea. Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. Also, number 2, there's a good pool of LGBTQ audience that search for male VTubers that you are subconsciously alienating. Yes, assert your boundaries if you're not comfortable with that, but I promise they will respect that and interact with you normally. Yes, there's the aspect of you flirt with your bros, right? There's that I think has been more prominent lately, and I absolutely adore it. I really hate the daddy VTubers. I prefer the little bro male VTuber. Why not? If it works, it works, right? But I've also seen that where people are flirt with your bros, flirt with your male audience if it's within your comfort zone. people will appreciate that. Like, honestly, for me as someone in part of the LGBT, you know, like, seeing that, I think is great. Like, I like seeing that kind of content. Flirt with your bros. It's funny. I have I've had Crit and Hanzo and some of my other friends in like chat just flirting with each other, and it's just like, okay, guys, it's okay. And like my guy friends, just hearing them like flirt with each other is just hilarious. But yeah, if it's within your comfort zone, I say lean into it, right? Male VTubers are going to attract both male and female VTubers. Yes. Yes, absolutely. But again, if as long as it's not just a BFE experience, right? I just said boyfriend experience. Yes. Yeah, their verse holds true too. Don't worry. There's lower expectations for male VTubers, so it gives them the chance to be more dynamic. I think that one applies both ways. There's a little bit more probably on the female side because of the idol culture, so it's a little bit different. Some of these ones are like, it goes both ways. It's not just limited to the guys, right? You face less backlash for people you hang out with, less pressure to act a certain way, no need to constantly flirt or maintain parasocial. Yeah, yes and no. Again, it varies. Parasocial behavior goes both ways and can be pretty aggressive. If you are a guy who gives like boyfriend experience content or daddy vibes content, you gotta be careful about your engagement. So that doesn't immediately exclude you. Why did I freeze again? I hate this phone. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna restart it one more time and then try to see if I can remove my model. See if it'll help with the lag. You have the option to have a wide range of personality. Pleasant, timid, and cute. This one's incorrect. I don't agree with this one because a lot of the times people prefer if you have like a mommy vibes stream, right? Dommy mommy, sexy stream. I don't fuck with that. I'm more of like, you guys have probably seen it. I'm more of like a shit little kid sister thing. Out of curiosity, I check how much male versus female I have and have more male than females. Yeah, I mean, well, I can't say much because I mostly have male viewership. A good content creator will always prevail over how they carry themselves. Absolutely. Hags are in. Jesus Christ, Neko. Here, I'm gonna... Can I still use VTube Studio even with... Okay, good. Oh, that's much better. I have unloaded my model on my phone. As in something always watch out for. Yeah, the list is okay. It's not like... I don't wholeheartedly agree with it, though. Because this doesn't apply. A lot of the times, they prefer female VTubers to be like, oh, do ara, or, oh god, that's, why did I pronounce like that? I'm not gonna do it. Be like the little sexy vibe. I'm like, no. That's why my appeal gravitates towards more of like the cute little chibi models and all that stuff. Simply receiving far less harassment than female VTubers. Yeah, it sounds repetitive. Facing far less harassment. They yes and no, but a lot of the times there are male VTubers who instigate the creepiness towards female VTubers. I see it happen time and time again. Not to say it doesn't happen both ways, but from whenever I see like those Google Doc posts, it's almost always like a dude creeping on a girl because they're like, I'm a sex god VTuber and I'm gonna be here to flirt in your DMs. And it's just like, bruh, nobody likes that shit. So I wouldn't say that on, but I agree. Like some of them, good points. A lot of them, they're pretty weak points. But overall, again, I can close this one now. But overall, like those are kind of like my takes on like how you could succeed, right? A lot of people. Oh gosh, like TLDR, okay? Making yourself stand out by the content you create and the personality you bring out will help you succeed far more than just being some sex god looking VTuber. I mean, if you can roll with it, like let's say that is your niche, like you like to have a sexy model, nothing wrong with that because it goes both ways. Then just know that your character design being sexy is not gonna be the only way you become successful. It's not to shit on it, but it is a pretty common trope to be shit on because it's just so prominent. And this is coming from me, like from a design standpoint, right? Oh, and here, let me show you guys. I forgot I saved a few more so we can yap around this one a little bit more. People would say like, oh, male fashion is not as broad. It is pretty broad if you do your research, right? A lot of what people, especially like the male VTubers who are complaining about like what they lack, also don't put in research in how to succeed, right? They don't do research designs, and this is not like an overgeneralization of every guy, okay? I'm only specifying the ones who complain. They're not doing research in what kind of content they should do. They're not researching in how male VTubers are successful. They're just thinking, I'm a male VTuber, my model is great, why am I not succeeding? When that's just not it. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Take care. Crit, you're a different case. This does not apply to you. But yeah, so it's like one of those. I don't know, like a lot of it, you really do need research. How am I a different case? Because you're crit, and it's entertaining just to watch you. In general. I didn't mean it literally. I meant it jokingly. Oh my gosh, old man. So yeah, that's some of the things to take into account, right? You take into account, you got to do a lot more research. You got to learn strategy, networking. Like, there's so much you can do to succeed. But it's not going to be an overnight thing. You really have to put in the work. I'm just dusty, then moisturize. But yeah. It's tough for everybody. You just have to find, like this person said, it's going to be hard for everybody. You just have to find out what works for you. You have to research different niches that you want to cater to and then put in the work for it. Ultimately, I feel like that's the only main thing to succeed is like you put in the work, you find the niche, you do the research, and you just roll with it, right? Yeah, you can have a pretty looking model, but that's not the only thing that's going to help you grow. Did the post address male VTubers that identify as male but use a female or feminine? Because I see some of those guys get treated negatively with first time chatters. Unfortunately, I think that goes both ways too. Because if you look at there's a perfect VTuber model perfect VTuber example for that, and it's the what's their name? It's the that maid VTuber. I forgot what his name is. Oh, Porcelain. If you look at Porcelain Maid, if I can spell porcelain, jeez. Oh, hello. If you look at Porcelain Maid, that's a great example. They're male, but they use a female model because it's cute, right? they deal with people bitching about, like, oh, why don't you look like this, or why do you look like that, or people who are like tomboy VTuber models. They struggle with that too. And unfortunately, that's also just how society is right now too. You know, I have a dear friend, and they're a femboy VTuber, and his content is doing really great. Yeah, you'll get haters here and there because they don't understand, but unfortunately, with stuff like that, you are honestly better off just kind of brushing them off. You'll always face criticism because people are ignorant. Unfortunately, yeah. You know, you're just gonna have to include it in like your rules and be like, hey, this is that. I'm only gonna say it once, respect it, or get bonked. Why am I looking for validation from you? I've seen what you pull for and gotcha. I'm not saying you need validation from me. And hey, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Great, we don't talk about that. No, a good chunk of them are monsters and aliens, but we don't talk about that. Anywho, we don't talk about it. I didn't say you were lying. Anyway, yeah, it's a porcelain doll. Porcelain doll. Here, porcelain doll or porcelain maid? I keep forgetting. Doll VTuber. Porcelain maid. I'm so sorry. Porcelain maid is a great example of a male VTuber with a female VTuber model. Sorry, a male content creator with a female. Oh, excuse me. VTuber model. Jeez. How do you? Okay. How do you? Why am I bad at spelling this? Porcelain maid. That's how you spell porcelain? Oh my god, I hate English. Yeah, Joel is a great example of that, right? He has a really pretty VTuber model, very pretty concept, very femme presenting, you know, and I still see them from time to time posting like videos and stuff, people complaining, oh, why do you have a girl model, blah blah blah. And I think they made a tweet. Oh, here you go. See, stuff like that. I like my lore. Excuses are great if you need to cope, but you're wasting your time when you could be streaming. So if you think it's easy to viewers with a female model, then do it. I've been a VTuber for like 7-8 years, worked my way up, and my demographic is split between 50-50. They watch me for me. So stuff like that too. If you are struggling with like, hey, you know, what if I have like a female presenting model and I'm male, or like vice versa, or this and that, it's like, you just gotta find your audience. People are always gonna bitch no matter what. You just gotta find your audience. I have no idea. Yeah, porcelain. Will I get more views if I have Nikkei Booba on my streams? Like on yourself, Crit? Because yeah, that could totally get you more views. Yeah. And I guess overall, that's my take on this entire discourse thingy. Wasn't expecting for it to actually go on like a long rant, but that is pretty much, you know, what I gotta say about it. And this is coming from someone who's also an indie VTuber, okay? My advice is to be taken with a grain of salt, because it's from my own experiences as a content creator, what I've been doing for a while. I only debuted in July officially, but I've been making content for like ever. Oh, you mean the one with the broken spine? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yep, 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 yep. Okay. I'd be dressed as Cinderella. Which one? Which one? That's what truly matters. Which one? Ay, 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 ay. Alright, I'm trying to. Oh, wait. What's this one? Enshrouded Dev update. Let's see. So you know, blah 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 blah. Wake of the water. Craftable. When conclusion. There are just some things, steps we're taking in the update. Our team is now multiple developers. Soon. Okay, never mind. Cinderella. Ew. No. No. Boo. Ah. Oh man, I want the DLC for Woolhaven for Cult of the Lamb. That's so cute. What? Dang, all of their DLCs look so good. Damn. Okay, so now trying to figure out we can switch to art for a little bit. Where I'm working on my little PNG of a friend. Or we can try to figure out what game to play. Oh, and there's my dog. Woof, woof. Fear the Spotlight? Hang on, let me see that one. Here, you guys can just hang out here while I look at some stuff. Epic. Because tomorrow we're going to play the Amnesia the Bunker one. Ooh, excuse me. Let's see. Where? How far do I have to scroll to the free? Oh, Fear the Spotlight. What's that one? Ooh, Bendy and the Ink Machine. Oh, Epic Games want me to update. Womp womp. Hi, Sun. But yeah, if you guys have any more like questions about like what we discussed in a chat today, feel free to put them in my Discord so I can try and address them when I do the video. Whoa. Yeah, Bendy and the Ink Machine is going to be free on the 30th. And right now is Fear the Spotlight. What is this game? Fear the Spotlight. Third-person horror with disturbing mystery. I don't think my computer will like me very much if I try to download this right now. But I will take a look at that. What's that one? Yamawari series? Missed all the good stuff? Yes, you did, Soon. Yes, you did. But that is okay, because then you can watch them as a VOD soon. Sorry. Ahem. Ahem. You know, do I have Amnesia the Bunker already downloaded? Bum, bum, bum. So I'm trying to look past my phone. Is she making a horror game list? Ish? I'm always kind of down to play some, but not all of them. Not anything. I'm fine to take a look at some, but they just can't have spiders. Is usually where I'm like, no, thank you. Spiders are a no-go. Please. Animal Crossing Halloween event? Dude, I would, but my town is so dead. I mean, like, I have my favorites, but I still have a lot of, like... I think I left my town because I tried to remodel and I hated it. Oof. There are some horror demos from Steam we could probably try. Because I did save a couple. Bump, bump, bump. Harvest screen. Let me see. I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in, or you just want like an art stream. We'll just yap and draw. Oh yeah, I saw the demo for Storebound Neko. I have it saved, but I don't have anyone to play that with, so. It was fun. Okay, well, I'm downloading it. Backrooms Rex. I want to play that one. The Backrooms Rescue Expedition. That one looks fun, too. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'll be down. Let's see. What's this one? Roguelike. Womp. Welcome to Dolltown. Yeah, so there's a couple of horrors we could look at, horror games, but I think I'm saving a good chunk of these horror games for next week, because I want to do like a spoopy week. All horror games next week. I think that'd be fun. Ooh, zombie chef. Ho ho. You know what? Well, we can look. Yeah, there's a bunch of horror games I have saved for next week, so we can do those. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what I can do. I think we'll just switch to an art stream for now, just to wind down a little bit. Or actually, is there anything new with Mabby right now that's worth taking a look at? Bump, 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 bump. Oh wow, they had an interview with Pulse. That's so cute. Or, oop, oop, oop. All Hallows Harvest Sale. Nightly Lantern. Loot Lantern. You can replay the old Halloween events. Ooh. English VA jump scares? What? Hey, is that Hellgate? Oh. Yeah, why not? Let's check it out. All right, let's switch to let me update it first, and then we'll switch to Mabby because I'm curious to see what that is. That looks like Balor. Alright. Fairly shortish and not too much combat. Okay. The Hellgate is... oh god, never mind. Never mind. I'm not even gonna bother with that. Okie dokie. We will launch it. Why not? Fuck it. Alright, I'm gonna change the category and the stuff. And I'm gonna end the YouTube side. So, switch on over to Twitch.